Cheers.
You've stumbled on into the Tap Takeover Podcast.
That's right. Welcome to the Tap Takeover Podcast Festival Series. Today we're sitting down with the man himself, Mike Pallen from Mikerphone Brewing, doing a little preview for Smells Like a Beer Fest Part 2.
Part 2.
That's a bigger, better, longer, and uncut, right?
You got it.
So, give us the haps. How did you guys manage to expand in size?
So we, after we wrapped up last year, we had really considered about moving away from our location to an offsite location. But as we thought about logistics and we thought about the kind of the charm of our place where we are, being in the industrial park, we have room. It's a Saturday. Most businesses aren't closed. So we just had to work with the city to see, and our neighbors to see if we could get more space. So last year we had 2 tents. This year we have 3 tents. So there's still be the one on the side of the building, and then now there'll be 2 in the street. So we're just going to extend a little bit further that way. But then with that, we can add 30 some more breweries. So we know with all the travels that I've done this year and all the fests, just got to know a lot of great people on the road. And as this thing kind of has evolved, it's like, hey, you should come up to our fest. And there's been, everyone's like, yes, definitely we're coming. So yeah, the fest has ballooned up to 70 different breweries, and some cideries and meaderies are involved. It's the same thing. It's a charity event. All proceeds go directly to the charities we're working with.
And how much money did you guys raise last year? Because it was a significant amount.
Yeah, it was just about $18,000. So we're hoping to break that this year. I know tickets were a little bit more expensive this year, but with additional breweries, and the bulk of the brewers are coming from out of state. So with that, we take care of their hotel rooms. We take care of their food when they're here. Yeah, all that stuff. This stuff is it's expensive for them to move the beer, and we pay for the beer if they don't donate to the charity. We pay for their shipping, all that stuff. It adds up fast. And so as you add more and more breweries and you add more accommodations, stuff like that, it adds out. But we should still have enough where we can donate a big chunk of change to the charity, which it's all about. Elk Grove Village has been a huge supporter of Mikerphone Brewing. It took a little bit of time to kind of build a relationship, but once we did, it's been fantastic. We work hand in hand. We're trying to be as involved in the community as we can, and this is just one way every year that we can give back to a local charity and, just kind of cement our plant in Elk Grove Village.
It's always nice to give back, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Especially, the city's got to love that. Is it the same charity again this year?
No, every year it switches. So the first year was for the vets. They were actually looking to install a elevator in their building, so they had to raise some money. So we actually donated one of the larger chunk of changes for that. Last year was for the Elk Grove Village Youth Scholarship Fund. And this year we're actually probably going to be doing 2 different charities. We got to do the Character Coalition of Elk Grove Village, and then we're also going to be working with Kids Serve. So just bringing them in and doing as best we can to help local charities and charities that have good missions. So a lot of them are helping out young kids who don't have access to resources to do things that we are granted to do every day. So it's fun to get back and see kind of the positive results that come out of it. And honestly, the people who attend the fest should pat themselves on the back because they're not just coming and drinking beer; they're doing something positive for a community.
So you're growing your size by 30 breweries.
Yep.
What's the attendance going up to? I know it was only about 500 tickets last year.
Yeah, last year we sold 500 tickets exactly. This year we sold 800. So we increased by 300 tickets, and then.
So with the whole nother tent, that's really not that many more people.
No, we don't want to.
It was the perfect size last year.
I think that was the biggest compliment we got out of last year was that it didn't feel crowded. And it felt like you could get everything. There's a few exceptions. There were a few breweries at the time that were just popping off some new stuff that people wanted to try. So those kicked fast.
If I remember, there was really only like 2 or 3 lines the entire time.
100%, yeah. And that's great. That's the beauty of it. And I think people can come and relax, enjoy beer for 5 hours, and listen to great music, and enter to win some great raffle prizes, and really get exposed to a lot of awesome breweries from across the U.S. And that's kind of one of the bigger changes. There's a few changes this year. One of the bigger ones is that I really want the focus to be on the out-of-town breweries. We've gone to several fests this year where I've actually seen the opposite, and the host brewery is the focus. I'm like, well, why would you have these other breweries do the legwork and fly up here and bring beer from their city when you don't get that every time? Go and enjoy their beers. So from noon until 3, that's what's going to be about. Go meander around, find new beers, meet new breweries, try something that maybe you've been chasing that you can't get a hold of in your market. And then at 3 o'clock, we'll tap the Mikerphone beer.
Right?
Yep. We're going to we'll tap the BA bean. We'll tap the BA bean variant. I think we got vanilla, we got hazelnut, we got a few other bean variants that are available. And yeah, we'll load it up and go from there. But focus on the other stuff first. Let's get you guys out there, and then once you've had a chance, you had your 3 hours of kind of doing that, come check us out.
I mean, for me, it was my second favorite festival of the season. I mean, great taste. It's always the best. but just,
that's an honor to hear that, though, because Great Taste is my favorite. So that's great.
We were there and helped you set up, and knowing that Great Taste is your favorite too, it really seemed like the way you took care of people, the way you brought them ice, the way if they had their kegs there, it was brought to their stations. It seems like you actually modeled it as a mini Great Taste.
Oh yeah, you learn. I've been to so many fests this year and last year, and you learn what works and what doesn't work. And if a brewer can come in and you take care of them the night before, and they can get up and just basically show up and have breakfast and then get ready to pour, they're gonna be happy and they're gonna be excited to be there. If they got to worry about setting things up and things not working and missing stuff, it becomes stressful. So we try to make it as easy as possible, but we also want the brewer to be there to pour if they can, because that's a great way to interact with somebody who's out of your market. And like I said, the bulk of the breweries, I think 80% of the breweries are from out of town. And that's important for them to connect and consumers to connect and ask questions. And the beer community is pretty tight. We're not just silos. We are all in this together as a countrywide. See, with all the trading going on and all the festivals going on. So this is an opportunity to connect to these brewers that maybe you've been trading for, or maybe you've been following on Facebook or whatever. So get out there and you meet them. And yeah, we try to make this as easy for the brewers and the consumers as possible. Just come, relax, have a good time, enjoy some crazy good beer.
So now I want you to just give a little love to the entertainment. Because for me last year, School of Rock, it was just like totally unexpected.
Yeah.
And those kids just blew it out of the water.
This is the best thing because so before I started Mikerphone, I worked for School of Rock. I did all the marketing for all the schools across the U.S. and the country. And I knew not a ton about the company, but I knew enough to know that it's super interesting and powerful. But I didn't realize the capabilities that this program had to influence kids how to play music. And not only that, but also become leaders in school and give them the positivity and give them the creativity and the drive to be really powerful kids in their community. A lot of kids get nervous to go out in front of your class and give a speech. These kids are playing in front of 15,000 people at a festival. It's a huge development for kids to find a positive way to learn how to use music, learn how to grow as a team, because it's not individual. It's not here's a song, learn how to play guitar and come back. You learn as a band, and at the end your assignment is to play in front of a crowd. It's so special. So when we were doing the fest, I think now this goes back to even when we had it at Fishman's the second year. The first year was at Slapshot. Second year was at Fishman's with the Pale Popper Day. And we had them play there, and people were blown away. And that's the best part. I even saw when we had the kids play up at Summerfest a few years back for the fest. You would watch people walk by the stage, and they would stop backtrack, and be like, how are those kids playing that song? Right. I'm like, that's it. And so, whip and post, when they bust that whip and post, I think everybody at the fest just stopped and turned and said, what is going on
My
here?
two moments were when they started playing Toe the Line.
Oh, yeah.
When you guys opened up like it was pre-planned. And
then Beastie Boys. Remember when they did Beastie Boys?
The whole festival stopped and was like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
It just rocked out for the whole song.
Yeah, and they're kids. They're 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 kids. They're killing it. And it's cool to see them play some of these. As sad as it is to say that Beastie Boys are classics, we're getting to that age. But and they go, they got a deep catalog of awesome hits that you're just like, really? You can play that? And so it's fun. And so we get them out there, and we donate money to their organization as well. And this is also a good experience for them to come and play in front of a crowd that they typically don't get to play for. It's a way for me to kind of, tip back to what I used to do, and also to see these kids kind of prosper in front of it.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, Smells Like Bean Spirit, the barrel-aged version, and the variant this year.
Yep.
And then the big change as to not releasing it this year at the festival.
Yeah, so we always wanted to make barrel-aged beer, but where our country brewing days didn't allow for it because of space and this and that. And then our first year was tough because we had to get beer out to the market. We couldn't tie up a full batch of beer to go to barrels. It wasn't working. So finally we got into groove last year and got some beer in barrels, and we released 5 different barrel-aged beers. I personally think they all lived up to exactly what we wanted them to do.
I think we've tried all of them except the Vanilla Noise, and they've all been just spot on.
Yeah, so we're really happy with the barrel aging program, and I brought Mike in to kind of run that and he's just been killing it. We've invested more, and we're hoping to have 150 to 200 full 53-gallon barrels by the end of this year, and really just kind of invested in that project. What we couldn't do last year into this year is make enough of Bean Spirit to cover everybody at the fest. So if we sold 800 tickets, we would need 800 4-packs to cover everybody. We're only going to yield about 600 this year. So it was hard for us to make that decision. But I also realized that last year there was a lot of people who were complaining that, well, I have to buy a ticket to the fest to get the beer. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good point. Maybe you shouldn't. Yeah. So in this game of trying to please everybody, it's really, really hard to do so.
You can never please everybody.
Yeah. I mean, and so what we decided is that, okay, we'll sell the tickets to the fest. The fest is the fest. Let's celebrate beer. Let's have a good time. Don't worry about having to pick up your 4-pack. Don't waste an hour waiting to get that or dropping it or breaking it. Just come to the fest, have a great time. The Thursday and Friday before the fest and the Sunday after the fest, we'll release allotments. So probably 200, 200, 200. And then the variant, 100, 100, 100. But what I think, and no one knows this yet, I'm just making this executive decision in my drive up here today from Chicago to Milwaukee, is that I realize the beer is expensive. It's just expensive to make. It is what it is, and the packaging format accounts for that to be expensive. So I know there's sticker shock with the 4-pack at $50 a 4-pack. So what we'll probably do is that
I don't think you're going to have a problem selling it.
I know that's never it hasn't been the problem, but I do feel bad. It is sticker shock to some people, and they want it. So I think what we'll do this year is that we'll offer a max allotment of 4 bottles, so a 4-pack, or if you want to, you can get 2. And I think with the variant, you can get a max of 2 bottles, or 1 if you want 1. Okay. And that way it kind of, will lessen the blow. If people don't need 4, they only want 2, let's just go with that route. So that's the executive decision I made this morning coming up here, and I think I'm going to stick by it. And I think it gives a chance for maybe even more people to get it. If, say, you only wanted 2, perfect. You didn't have to buy 4. The next person behind you can get there too.
Awesome. A little bit of breaking news for us.
Yeah, there you go. And then, literally, at the end of the day, I am an old beer consumer. I've gone through these lines and these fests and all that stuff back in the day, and we're trying our best as Mikerphone to make this experience the most appealing for as many people as we can. I realize the tickets sell out fast. It's a product of 800 tickets. There were, we have almost 18,000 likes on Facebook at this point. We've got a pretty big following. And those things sell out fast. And then with the beer, we don't make enough of it to get it out to everybody. But we're trying our best to do so with these multiple options and ways of getting it. Let's say you came into the fest on Saturday, and you can't get in Saturday. Now you have the opportunity to get Sunday. Yep. But if you come in town early, now you got Thursday and Friday.
If you're coming in from out of town, you better be staying overnight.
Yeah, definitely. Please stay at a hotel, take Uber over. Yeah, be safe. But so yeah, we're just trying to do it as best we can and make sure. But I think what we'll do next year is that we'll probably try to double up and get a lot more Bean Spirit in a barrel. So maybe 30 barrels instead of 15 or whatever, a 13-barrel batch instead of 15-barrel batch, just to double it up.
Growing year by year by year, you get bigger.
Yep, and then we definitely have talked to Elk Grove Village about doing it off-site next year. So this will be the last year in front of our space. What you don't realize is that we shut down the tasting rooms for that day, so we sacrifice sales on that, and then also just kind of lose out on bottle sales as well. So it's a big sacrifice for us to throw the fest in front of our space. It's convenient, but if we could do it at an off-site location, take care of it that way, and still have the tasting room open, it's a win-win for all parties involved.
Well, if that doesn't make everybody happy, I don't know what does,
right?
So, just a couple more questions before we wrap up. Why don't you talk a little bit about the raffle? You had some pretty epic beers on the raffle table last year. What should people look out for this year on the raffle table?
Yeah, so what we did last year was kind of a last-minute thing, but we asked a bunch of brewers, hey, if you're coming in and you don't mind donating some bottles that are whales in some people's minds, we'd love to raffle those off. And everybody just unleashed their cellars on us. It was awesome. So we did a bunch of allotments of, Cantillon and this and that and whatever we could do. And we raised a ton of money through that. It was impressive. I think it was a quick $7,000 that was donated through that.
People opened up the wallets real quick.
We had to go back to the store twice to buy more raffle tickets. So we learned this year to buy more raffle tickets. Also realizing that, we started immediately after the fest and started reaching out to people. So we've got tickets to Sox games. We got tickets to Wolves games and concert tickets and a lot of experience stuff like that. The special glassware, I think Black Ninja, who makes the glassware for the answer, he sent up some really unique glassware for us to raffle off. I'm going to raffle off all the barrel-aged beers that we've made to date. I literally have a bottle of each for my own cellar, and I'm raffling those off just to do something cool for it. And I know a lot of people have brought stuff in, but several different consumers or fans of ours have just brought in bottles and glassware matching sets. We've got some Ahunapu variant. We've got a bunch of stuff that's all lined up for it. So definitely come with some extra cash if you're looking to win some cool sought after some memorabilia and some stuff like that. And I'm sure we'll throw some other stuff in here at the last minute as we keep scouring for that. But it should be pretty cool to raise as much money as we can.
Awesome. So as we're getting closer to the actual physical beer list being released, has there been any rolling in? Any specialties rolling in that you can break some news on?
Yeah, actually, man, it's funny because a lot of people are like, hey, when do you need to know by? Because we sent out the sheet and people get kind of limited by that. I'm like, honestly, just make sure it's all cleared and taken care of and we'll be fine. So some of them might be last minute and we'll do what we did last year, have the records and people can write the name on it. But like, I just had a conversation with Voodoo yesterday. He's like, hey, we're setting up the Barrel Age collab with Three Sons. I'm like, okay, that sounds great. And then I was talking to Sam at Superstition, and she's like, there is one of 2 sixtels of this available, and I'm going to bring it to your fest. I'm like, well, what is it? She's like, it's our mead aged in Bottlelogic fundamental observation barrels. I'm like, man. Okay, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. A little tear in my eye.
But yeah, there's a few of them. Like, I'm really curious to see what happens. Like, Eric just took over at Moore, so what's Moore going to bring? Sean just started phase 3. What's Sean going to bring? So yeah, I'm excited for some of those, but I think most people are going to bring the heat. I mean, that's usually when you take care of them.
They certainly did last year.
Oh god, yeah, it was awesome. But usually when you take care of brewers, like paying for the beer and paying for shipping and paying for hotels and stuff, they feel obligated and want to kick back something really special. So yeah, you'll see some good stuff this year again, just like last year.
Awesome. So last question I got for you before we shut this down. What do you feel would be the best way for someone to enjoy your festival? If you were just a regular consumer and you didn't own a microphone and you were coming to this festival, what's your advice to enjoy it? Get the most out of it.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of this fest is that you have options, right? This year you have mead, you have cider, you have beer, and you have breweries from all across the U.S. coming. So if there's a brewery if you're looking to find something, you're going to find something. But if you want, just go out of your norm. If you're from Milwaukee, don't go to Eagle Park. If you're from Chicago, don't come to Mikerphone right away or more. Go find a brewery that you don't know of and pop in there and try a beer, because that's what it's going to be about. It's going to be about discovering new breweries for you. That I feel that I've had the opportunity over these last few years to kind of curate this list of breweries that I feel are like-minded and exceptional breweries in the United States. Go try their stuff, because I guarantee there's not going to be a bad beer there at all. We even talked to some breweries like Goose, like, hey, we want you to bring the heat. And it's like, all right, we're bringing the heat. We're going to bring, this and that. I'm like, perfect.
That's good. They didn't really bring the heat last year.
No, and it was one of the conversations that we had with them. We didn't want to, insult them. But I'm like, hey, this is a fest that people are bringing the A game. And if you don't, they're not going to come to you. And so they realized that last year, and they stepped up and are bringing some really, really cool stuff. So, yeah, I mean, as a ticket holder, just come and as you alluded to earlier, it's not a crowded fest. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be just a relaxed, chill day for you to go and enjoy insane beers throughout the 5 hours you're there, listen to some music, eat some food, and then go home and happy,
If you don't leave from there happy, something's wrong. All right. Well, Thank you very much for your time, Mike.
Of course.
I appreciate it. And cheers, man.
Cheers.
This has been another Selling on Fail production.